Alright, so today we are engaging the Lizardmen versus the Tomb Kings, and in this map there's a lot of forest, and I want to highlight one of the often overlooked aspects of the Lizardmen, which is predatory senses. You can kind of see it up there, and that means that we can detect enemy units in forest, I believe double the range of normal unit troops. And that's going to really help us out, considering that a lot of the Tomb King's killing power is in their large unit models, which suffer a reduction in both movement speed and melee attack when they're in that forest. And it's true that, we brought our big monsters to fight them as well. We also have much superior infantry to our enemy, which allows us to kind of take those fights in the forest. The forest is infantrymen's terrain, so to speak, and God loves the infantrymen. So we're going to immediately deploy out here for basically keeping our units hidden initially, just because I don't see a reason to give information to our opponents. We do have a few units outside just to see the enemy, but I noticed that they have quite a strong range contingent here. So you see these Ibshopti with Great Bow, two versions of them, and they're going to be targeting a lot of our infantry and monsters if we roll up to attack. So I'm just not going to do that. You can see we pull them into this thick forest here, which is going to make it a little difficult to cast, but also going to deprive our enemy from information. We're skirmishing with the Pterodon Riders, just making sure we can see all the things that we can see, moving up with our infantry over here, and we're leaving these monsters in the back just to see where he does. And you can see already we've spotted pretty far out these Eyes of the Desert, who have stalk, and our predatory senses allow us to discover this unit while still remaining hidden. Like this Source Warrior unit is hidden. It's a reversal of roles. Usually the Eyes of the Desert would be hidden and the Source Warriors would be rolling up on them. But because of the forest terrain, because of the choice to choose our ground, we actually have the information advantage in this fight. And they're coming into the forest. He didn't have to. He could have stayed out on the side. And I believe I'm setting up some rock drops over here with the Pterodon Riders. I don't... Yeah, there we go. Good damage on this Tomb Guard with Halberd. We're poisoning the unit, which slows them, makes it easier to drop rocks on them. And as you can see, this Necrosphinx coming in here, 80% of his speed and 80% of his melee attack. It's not represented on the unit card. But if you go into a custom battle or quick battle, and you just hover over forested terrain, it'll say that 80%. So, it's pretty good. Alright, let's not miss the frontline engagement. As you can see, these skeleton spearmen just kind of wandering in. I didn't get a charge order off, which I would have done better to do, but I was mostly focused on the rock drops over here. And this Tomb Guard with Halberds is already crumbling, so they're gonna die pretty quick. I wanted the cohort of Sotek to be over here to fight against these monsters because they do have 95 armor and 80 armor on the Eyes of the Desert. But we don't have a lot of range in this army, and the enemy does with the Ubshapti, so the forest is only really going to help us. And we're going to send our Feral Carnosaur and Karkar on a secret mission to kill this Ubshapti, who's trying to get what damage they can in through the trees, but, as you can see, this, in the distance, death approaches. Yeah, not really too much use that the Ubshapti are having, and easily the Source Warriors are handling these Skeleton Spearmen. Over here, a much more critical fight is the Necrosphinx going up against these cohort of Sotek. They are unbreakable, and they have a special ability here. Special ability is Refuse to Die. Very important to remember to hit this. It means that I think that for 20 seconds they won't lose any models. And that could be very useful, that paired with the Unbreakable trait. Over here they have, a pretty powerful pocket, but the Pterodon Riders doing their best in close range. Kind of getting hampered by the trees here, but still a lot of damage coming through. You know, Eyes of the Desert also getting dangerously close to these Saurus warriors who aren't specifically designed to fight them, but at least it'll negate their bonus versus large. And here we have a Skink Chief doing his best to, you know, get what damage they can onto Cetra. Yeah, 229 damage value and 688 damage. All of that just directed right towards Cetra. Currently, I think he's shooting into a tree, but you know, can't win them all. And Skink Priest of Beasts just waiting to get, I believe, Feral Manticore summons. I think he was doing a few. You know, once I remember to actually use him, gonna have some Flock of Dooms to be cast on the skeleton chef. I mean, now he's just getting involved with these Saurus warriors. Not a great matchup, as Cetra the Imperishable is specialist against infantry, so not fantastic. And the Shopti's going to be summoned up behind the lines just to fight into the rear charge of the Saurus warriors. So good matchup for them, but you know, kind of over in the distance, we're taking out a lot of valuable range and money over here, with Pterodon Riders coming in to kind of mass swarm this Ushopti with great bows. I'm finally getting a good old Croc Guard to come to the main fight to help out. And they've suffered mightily at the hands of these anti-large feral carnosaurs who, you know, even with 80% of their attack and 80% of their speed, it's still a lot of damage. And the Ushopti also are suffering that 80% because they are large. Yep, 2 units of skeleton spears being handled quite nicely by Saurus warriors with shields. Yeah, they're just waiting through the numbers game right now, but also the Capra Guard doesn't look like they're engaged. They're just yelling at each other and spitting distance away. Oh, this game sometimes. Oh, there's some fighting. Looks like the Saurus warriors have survived the Ushopti summon. And here Krokar comes in to do his work against Cetra and actually the Necrosphinx. They're both losing combat. Feral Manticore coming in here just to kind of distract, take some hits, as you can see from the Necrosphinx there. Any damage I can save from going on Krokar, you know, the better. And yep, let's just kind of get in as close as we can. See this big old fight. Yeah, really focusing on Cetra here. Krokar should be able to absolutely handle Cetra the Imperishable there. Yep. No, and also this infantry support being here, I think, really adds to a lot of the leadership penalties, which for undead translate into damage. Right, so you can see this Necrosphinx is going to -6 leadership. Oh, lost it there. Now let's try this. Alright, so Lord died 16, damage sustained 22, attacked and flanked, flanked exposed, exhaustion, losing currently. So if it's crumbling, it means that it's taking damage. And because it's the only focus of all of this infantry and the Manticore and Krokar, 2 units of Saurus warriors, it routes off, and that will be army losses. Okay, so that should be it. Go ahead and end the replay and take a look at the tail of tape, see what we got. Pterodon Riders paid for themselves. Not as much on these ones, but again, full health on all of these, right? And that contributes to the combat potential, which influences the balance of power. Our Carnosaur actually did quite well. Again, full health. Corsair Tech definitely sacrificed themselves for the greater good, but I believe they did get close to paying for themselves. I'm pretty sure. I'm proud of them anyway. And really good damage for the Saurus warriors. Again, definitely relative to the health, paying for themselves, I would say. And that's something that we need to keep in mind. It's not just did they get their values worth and die. It's did they get their values worth relative to the amount of health that they have left to influence the balance of power. 1,004. Wow, really heavy lifting. 1,200. Oh my god, these Saurus warriors deserve a medal. And 600 for the Skink Chief. Not bad. It's more than the Skink Chief cost, so. Priesthood Beasts, I could have used them better. And I think Krokar paid for himself, actually. Very, very respectable performance. All because of, in my opinion, negating the Ubshapti with Great Bows in the beginning. Yeah, 131 damage value. Terrible. 400, better. But I suspect a lot of that was just being in melee with the Pterodon Riders and not really shooting their bows. 737 for the Kepra, not quite paying for itself. Okay, damage for the Necrosphinx. That was, respectable amount. And Eyes of the Desert, I didn't think, paid for itself directly, but again, was a pretty stand-up combatant in that key. Yeah, the Tomb Guy with Halberds got immediately evaporated by rock drops, so not a huge loss here, I would say. And then didn't pay for itself. I think 350 or 325 is the Skeleton Spearman unit. 165, 183, 98, 76, not a lot. And then Cetra, I don't think got himself back, but again, he created that kind of Death Star and really needed that to win him the game on the left flank there. But we just went around the back and cleaned up all these Ubshapti. So yeah, how to use forests effectively if, your enemy will come right into them. I would say this is a great example of how infantry benefits from forest usage if you don't have the range advantage and your greatest threat is large. So yeah, hope that was instructional for you guys, and I'll see you around later.